Hello, today I'm going to show you how to make some changes to your data. We've been getting calls from yearbook advisors that are trying to figure out how to change the spelling of children's names or teachers' names, how to move them throughout the book, how to move them from one class to the other, or to actually remove them in case the student actually is no longer in the school. So today we're going to do that. And that is all found in the data manager. So when you first log in, you'll come to your home screen, your landing page. You'll have all your different tabs here. If you go to the admin tab and click on your data manager, you will see your data manager homepage. Now, with your data manager right here, it's going to show you all the different things that you can do. And if you have any questions, just read. It's right here. If you want to remove a person, well, you're going to do it in the personal data. If you want to duplicate person, let's say it's a preschool teacher that is going to be in the AM and PM class, and they're on two different pages, and you want the teacher to be represented, you want to duplicate that person and make sure they're in both places. Change the image associated with the person. Let's say you have their retake picture in there and you want to put their original picture back in or something like that. So here's some stuff you would do in personal. Your classroom data, that's more along the lines of where you're going to, say, add a new class, delete a class, change the name or title, merge classes together. If, let's say, you don't want them, you have your kids in your book with first grade, second grade, third grade, instead of Miss Johnson and Miss Smith first grade, you might merge those together and then just make one page, call it first grade, instead of two pages of Miss Johnson and Miss Smith. So that would be in your class data. Class roster, that's a way for you to do a mug book so you can print it out and proof out all the classes for the teachers. Data check tool, image report. I'm not going to get into those right now. I'm mainly going to deal with your personal and your class data. So let's start with your personal data. Once you've clicked on the personal data, it's going to show you all the students and teachers and faculty members who are in your book. You can sort this by first name, by last name, by grade, by class, by type. This would be if they're the principal, assistant principal, staff. You can sort it by the number of images for each child, and you also have, are they original or retake images? So right here you'll see whether or not the original or the retake image is what's in the book. So let's start with trying to change some of the staff members. So let's say right here we have a Kenneth Scott and a Chris Woody, and one of them's the principal and one's the assistant principal. Let's say there's a mistake and somebody had accidentally put Mr. Scott as the assistant principal and Mr. Woody as the principal, and it should be the other way around. Well, to fix that, I'm going to click on Mr. Scott here, and you'll see his picture right here. You can, at any time, come to this drop-down box, change him to the principal, hit save. Once I save it, it's going to tell me that the information has been updated, so now I know it's safe for me to move off of this page. I hit go back. It's going to warn me and tell me anything I changed but did not hit save will be lost. Well, I know that I just hit the save button and it does say information's updated, so I know I'm good. But let's say right now I go in here and I change it to Mr. Ken Scott, and I hit go back. Well, I didn't hit the save button, so it's not saving that. So in this case here, I'm like, oh, that's right, I changed something that I didn't save. So I hit cancel, hit save. It tells me it's been updated. Go back. I know I saved what I saved. I'm not worried about it. I hit OK. It's going to bring me back. Now you're going to see if I sort it, I have two principals. Ken Scott, who is the true principal, and Chris Woody. Let's say I now want to make Chris Woody the assistant principal. We'll change that, and let's say he wants to be called Christopher. I change this information here, hit save, and hit go back. Now, if I go to my yearbook pages, I will see that Mr. Ken Scott, who is the principal, will be first, followed by the assistant principal, Christopher Woody, then followed by all the staff members in alphabetical order. We have this set up so that it is going to list people in alphabetical order by their classification. So Mr. Scott would be before Mr. Woody in alphabetical order, but he's definitely in front of him because he's the principal. Mr. Woody is the assistant principal, followed by our teachers, followed by our staff members. So if you notice here, I've got Scott, then Woody alphabetically, then it goes alphabetical all the way to my S and W, and then I go back to the B's. Again, excuse me, it has to do with the classification of the person: principal, assistant principal, teachers, staff members. If I need to move somebody in their order, I can simply go home, go to the data manager, go to the go to the personal data, and again, if I hit sort by type, and I've got my assistant principals and staff, I'm going to notice here's all my staff. I can find any teachers, and I can change them if I need to. I can change this person right here from a teacher. Let's say she's actually a staff member. I do this, it's going to change her order in the book. It's going to place her in a different place. So that is how you would change their change them in the book and where they're going to go. It's, again, all data driven. What's in here decides where they're going to be in the book. So if you have to make any changes, that's how you make it. Now let's say you have somebody who's no longer here. Let's go back here and let's just look at some students. And let's say Taylor Alcock here, let's say he moved to another school. He's no longer in this school. If I hit remove from book and hit OK, he is now no longer in Mrs. Alexander's class. So you'll see right here, class, nothing. So when I come in here, I'll notice the class is NA. He is no longer listed in my book, but we did not get rid of his picture or his information because let's say there are two Taylor Alcocks, and one of them is a first grader and one of them is a third grader. Let's say we got rid of the wrong one. I'll just bring him back in here, put him in first grade again, and now he's back in Mrs. Alexander's class in the first grade. So by just changing him right here and removing him or putting him back in the book, it's going to decide where he is in the book. If I switch him from Miss Alexander's class to Miss Sykes' class, he will automatically move into Mrs. Sykes' class in alphabetical order and become the first person in the class. That is how you change the order of the people. Now, let's go to the data manager again and go to my classroom data. My classroom data is now where I'm going to change things like the title of the class or who's on the page. It's one of the ways you can change who's on the page. You'll get a quick look right here showing me I've got all of the teachers listed, or all the classes, staff and the teachers, what grade they are, how many staff members are on the page, and how many students are on the page. And you can quickly see that maybe there's an error, like Mr. Thompson here. There's no teacher selected with this class. So let me click on Mr. Thompson, and right here are all my staff members, and I can look. And let's say it was just a mistake and he's not listed, or let's just, for this sake right here, go ahead and put Timothy as the teacher, and let's change the class name to Mr. Copy this, paste it, copy it, and paste it. You can type it or copy it and paste it. Once I do all of this, now it's going to change the class name to him, and he is going to be the teacher. So when I hit save, and I can add more people. Let's say there's an assistant teacher of Ann here. I hit save. It's telling me it's going to reflow it because this is now going to change the way the book is set up. It's now changing the pages and flowing it around, and you'll also see that it's changed his name, and now there's a staff member here listed. All right. So that is how you would change who's in a class. Another thing you can do is when you're in the class, here's where you could set up how it looks on the page. Right now, on all of my pages, let me go to Edit Pages, open a new tab, so we can jump back and forth quickly. You'll notice that on my pages, it's going to have all of my people listed, their names listed here, and they're all on a gray background. Well, you might think this is kind of boring. One of the great benefits of working with Interstate Studio is that we shoot the pictures on green screen backgrounds, so it allows you to change the backgrounds. Well, let's say you don't want gray. So when you come into the classroom page, you're going to notice right here your yearbook display information. Do you want to show the title? Do you want it to say, you know, the classroom title right now is Mrs. Random. I could change this to kindergarten, first grade, pre-K, room 105, whatever. Or I could say, you know what, I don't even want to show the title. I don't want to have it or have it bolded. Do I want to show the staff salutation? Do I want it to say Miss Redon, or do I just want it to say her first and last name? I can change this right here by changing all of that. So it decides, and it changes the look of the page based off of what I have here. But let's go back to the portraits. Right now, we are using this gray background. But again, as I said, we are a green screen company, so we can change this background to whatever we want. We can go ahead and change it so every single kid on this class has a camouflage background or the sky here. Let's say I like the gray, it's 25. I could go ahead and say I want to use number 25, which is gray. So I look at it, find the one I want, hit save, and now when I go to this particular class, it is going to have that gray background. So let's see, let's actually do this on the staff, because the staff was the first page, and let's change the image to, let's see here, let's go ahead and just make it the flag here. Alright, so we have some patriotic teachers. We go ahead and hit save. Hit OK. It's going to reflow it and change it. Now, when I come up here, this is still showing me what was on the page, but I'm going to refresh it, and you're going to see that it will change all their backgrounds to Sorry. Try it again. The American flag. So now everybody on this page is going to be on the American flag, but I only changed it on this particular class, so everybody on this page is still going to have the gray background, and I can go back and forth. Well, let's say I want to use the American flag on all of them. You can go through one by one. You could have every single class. If you have 70, if you have 95, 75 classes or whatever, every single one of them could have a different background. You could go ahead and change it one by one all the way down. Or you can say, I like 5, and I'll make it 5. And then hit Copy to All Classes, hit OK. Now, I'm going to save this, hit OK. Now, when I go home and look at my pages, I will see that every single person on every single page will have the same background that I just changed. And I can quickly do that just as fast as I can push that button. So now let me try one more thing and I'll show you, and this is one of my favorites. I just want to show you this. If I go to my data manager, I come down here to my classroom data, and this is one of my favorites actually. I'm going to go to my staff again. Now, besides having different backgrounds, I can also put borders around it. So let me go ahead and use an oval. I want to go ahead and use 2-point, and I like black, and I'm going to go with no background. So now there's no background behind them. I'm going to hit Copy to All Classes, hit OK. Go to the bottom, save, hit OK. Now, if I go back to my home screen and I go to edit my page, you'll notice that I no longer have anything behind them. I instead have ovals, and it's clear. I can see through it. It's almost like the pictures were cut out and put on glass. What's neat about this right here is once I do that, I can change my page background. And let's pick something with some colors here. Use this background, and now you'll see that behind everybody right here, you see part of the wing of the butterfly, part of the wing of the butterfly. So you actually see part of the background. So everybody's isolated, it pulls them out, but every background is going to be slightly different, and it kind of lets you see everything else that's on the page. Just a neat little thing. So if you have any questions, feel free to call me at 312-320-5415. Again, 312-320-5415. Or you can email us at chicagoyearbooks@inter-state.com. Again, that's chicagoyearbooks@inter-state.com.